Christina and the Complete Jew. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. This book continues the story of the Arab sugar daddy and the beautiful Indian girl, and the story of the Indian child bride and the old Arab husband, and also the story of the Indian Miss World and the rage of Muslims of the world. They have been written in English and translated into Arabic by the author Dr. Ahmed. This story resonates with genuine love, strong resilience, and steadfast courage. I invite you to accompany me as I continue narrating the story of the rare, fabulous beauty of the Indian girl, Ifat Khan, and her extremely beautiful mother, Rehana Khan. Before we dive in the tapestry of the story, I would like to remind the reader this novel is narrated in 6 books. Book 1, The Arab Sugar Daddy and the Beautiful Indian Girl. Book 2, The Indian Child Bride and the Old Arab Husband. Book 3, The Indian Miss World and the Rage of Muslims of the World. Book 4, Christina and the Complete Jew. Book 5, The Tears of God, Jews, Blacks, and Muslim Women. And Book 6, The Hidden Life of the Prophet Muhammad. This is an intriguing epic story which exhibits resilience, love, and sacrifice. Book 4. In Search of a Companion in Her Lonely Journey in Life. Copyrights. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author, except by a reviewer, who may quote brief passages from a review for printing in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. All characters in this novel are fictional, and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is merely coincidental. Chapter 23. The Mission of 3 Female Inquisitors. Bruno Fernandez hid the separation letter that his American wife Christina left for him, and claimed that she has mysteriously disappeared, and suspected that some Muslim terrorists from Mumbai town have kidnapped her. To give credence to his story, he lodged a complaint at the Bandra police headquarters. It is the same police headquarters his American wife had lodged a complaint against her stepfather, the virtuous Imam Sheikh al-Din Khan. The serious problems that his wife faced at Mumbai town, when she went to meet her Muslim mother, led the police to believe his story of a terrorist kidnap. Consequently, the police of Bandra issued a citywide search warrant for the allegedly kidnapped Christian wife of Mr. Bruno Fernandez. In less than a week, the Bandra police were able to locate the hiding place of Mrs. Christina Fernandez. When the police questioned Christina, she denied being kidnapped by anyone. She told the police that she moved out of her husband's place on her own accord, and she notified him through a personal handwritten letter she left on the table in his living room on the same day she left his apartment. In fact, the cunning husband used the Bandra police to find where his American wife is hiding from him. He found her termination letter, read it, and understood that she deserted him and ran away, but he was scared that he might not find her by himself since they only have a few days left before their departure date to their paradise. Therefore, as soon as he got her new apartment address, he ran to his church leaders and requested them to go to his runaway American wife and convince her to return to his apartment as soon as possible. The church leadership knew that time is of the essence for the Fernandez family, who is scheduled to fly to the Promised Land soon. The family members have no time for spiritual counseling, marriage adjustment, and the like. They called upon the main 3 pastors' wives, who are themselves the top female pastors in the church, and sent them after the runaway American wife. The leadership instructed the 3 women to convince by any means Sister Christina to return to the fold. They are told to transfer her back to her husband, and to get her prepared for her soon upcoming overseas trip to the New World. Like the secret police of the Gestapo of the tyrant Adolf Hitler, leader of Nazi Germany, or the members of the Inquisition of the Catholic Church during the Dark Ages, those 3 female leaders stormed the apartment of the runaway rebellious wife. The 3 inquisitors have determined to burn her alive at the stake or cut her tongue, blinding her eyes, and completely mutilated her if she refused to recant her heretical beliefs, and return to her lawful Christian husband with whom only death can set them apart. It so happened that when those female pastors arrived unexpectedly at the new apartment of Sister Christina, they found a handsome young white guy staying with her in an open adulterous relationship as they thought. Their incredible finding and the immoral discovery caused them to forget about their important divine mission and return to their houses. Each one of them informed her husband, and then she picked up her phone and disclosed the latest ugly scandal to their respective female confidants. One of the three ladies, who is the wife of the key pastor, added some nasty spices to her rumor. She claimed that she had caught Sister Christina, the wife of Brother Bruno Fernandez, red-handed on the bed with a handsome young white man, in the very act of committing adultery. Subsequently, on Sunday service, every member of the congregation has come to know that the American wife Sister Christina has left her lawful Indian husband Brother Bruno, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez, and eloped with a handsome white guy. The morning the so-called scandalous adultery of the American wife has been discovered by the three women has coincidentally happened to be the day of the farewell party, which is to take place on the same very evening of that Sunday. Every believer in that church has been convinced by the pastor's wife to believe that the wife of Brother Bruno, Sister Christina, is now living in a shameful adulterous relationship with a white handsome guy who is most probably an American young man. Everyone accepted such a rumor as a true story except her husband and her in-laws. Bruno, his parents and siblings believe that Christina did that on purpose to obtain a divorce on the grounds of marital unfaithfulness or confirmed adultery. They went to the extent of claiming that Sister Christina had paid a young white man from among the Calaba foreign drug addicts. She bribed him financially, enticed him sexually, and therefore convinced him to stay with her until she can get a divorce under adultery and unfaithfulness. As a result, Bruno's parents, brothers, and sisters convinced him not to demand a divorce from his American wife on the grounds of infidelity or confirmed adultery, which was witnessed by three female leaders of the church. Some of the church leaders accepted Fernandez's theory, especially when Sister Christina phoned the senior pastor and his wife and demanded that failure to grant her an immediate divorce will result in a civil lawsuit and a subsequent court divorce. The pastor told her that she will be committing a terrible sin if she approached the unbelievers and sought their assistance. He then ordered her to rebuke the devil, kick her white foreign accomplice out of her apartment, and return to her lawfully wedded husband. After the surprise visit of the three female pastors and her phone conversation with the senior pastor, Christina decided to file for a divorce in court. She contacted a big lawyer at Bandra Court and explained her desire to divorce her Christian husband. The lawyer told her that getting a divorce in India is a particularly long and tedious process. However, if her husband is willing to sign the divorce papers along with her, then it will be granted instantly. A contested divorce for married Christians under Indian laws requires a 2-year separation period before the marriage contract can be dissolved. He explained further, divorce for the followers of Islam can be granted in an abbreviated time, such as a single-day visit to the court. Sharia law permits a Muslim husband to divorce his wife without the need to go to court. He just has to say to his wife talak, 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 or I divorce you my wife 3 times, and voila, she is divorced. He does not require to give any reason for divorcing her. However, a Muslim wife cannot divorce her husband unless there is a strong reason such as desertion for an extended period, and that too after long religious and legal procedures. Hindus almost have no way of divorcing their life partners. Likewise, Indian Christians have overly complicated and difficult laws for marriage and divorce. India is the only country in the world that grants Muslims the right to practice partially some of their Mohammedan laws, which are universally known as the Sharia. Christina has become disappointed to hear of such difficulty in getting a court divorce, and hence went back to the church and begged the leaders to divorce her from her selfish and abusive Christian husband and free her from the harassment of his evil 2 sisters. The 8 pastors collectively decided never to grant her a divorce. They told her that she can never ever get a divorce even if she is separated from her husband for 100 years. Only death can separate her from him. The male leaders refused to believe the story of the so-called confirmed adultery. They said none of the 3 female leaders could supply a single photo or a video taken through their cell phones when they caught Sister Christina and the handsome white guy on the bed in the very act of adultery. Without supplying substantial evidence, their story of adultery is rejected. Moreover, the American wife has not admitted her adultery, and upon questioning her, she vehemently denied it. Finally, Christina discussed her insoluble problem with her lover and spiritual boyfriend, the complete Jew Michael Lewinsky, but she found him unable to do anything to help her to release herself from her holy Christian marriage vow. Accordingly, Christina found herself being locked up forever in a marital prison that no one can set her free from it except death or confirmed adultery. Chapter 24. At last, the daughter and her mother meet after many years of separation. While Christina is struggling with her indisputable and insoluble divorce issue, she received a letter from the Mumbai Small Cases Court informing her about the scheduled date of her hearing concerning her dispute with her stepfather. The letter stated that the court proceedings are to take place after 7 days from the time she learned from the lawyer that her divorce process may take 2 years in court, and the senior pastor informed her the divorce will never happen through the church. She has almost lost hope of getting her Christian marriage annulled and marrying her American lover. Michael, who is true in his love for his girlfriend, kept on encouraging her through prayers and counseling. He spent hours and hours sitting with her in the living room and praying and singing hymns and reading the Bible for her. He never tried to touch her or approach her in any way that may tempt them to commit adultery. Meanwhile, her Christian husband kept sending his friends and some women from the church to convince her to leave the handsome white man and return to him. He promised to accept her and forgive her no matter what she has done with that white guy. His American wife stood firm on her decision and frustrated all his efforts to get her back. Amid that marital turmoil, Christina Fernandez attended the hearing of her dispute with her stepfather. She has not seen her Muslim mother for many years, but that day she managed at last to see her. Her mother is dressed up in a black burqa and covered her entire body except for her face. In fact, when her mother walked inside the courtroom, her face was fully covered, but the judge ordered her to unveil her face before she can take the oath. Christina's tears began to fall down her cheeks when she saw her biological Muslim mother after so long. She can see dark clouds of sadness filling her mother's face. She is not anymore the young woman she saw many years ago in Saudi Arabia when she was a child of 7. Behind her gloomy face and black clothes, one can read millions of sad stories. Despite the age, she still retained her beauty and graceful look. She looks like a woman who was forced by a selfish and wicked husband to bend to his whims against her wish. Meanwhile, her mother avoided looking at her. Her daughter has become astonished and disappointed when her mother avoided eye contact with her. Christina also saw the devil incarnate. Her evil stepfather is sitting beside her mother. His face is somber and extremely angry. He looks like a ferocious beast sitting near his killed prey after he devoured half of her flesh. Besides him, are seated 2 of his bodyguards who are also his devotees. Those 2 Muslim terrorists are armed, but their weapons are carefully concealed inside their Islamic pajamas. Through bribery and intimidation, they managed to smuggle their guns inside the small courtroom. Shortly after, the 3rd wife of the Mullah Sheikh Uldeen Khan placed her right hand on the Quran and took an oath in Urdu. She promised the court that she will speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Today, Christina is having a great hope of being reunited with her biological mother after destiny had separated them for so long. She can still remember how much she cried when her mother was taken away by the Jeddah police officers from the house of her Saudi sponsor, and what had happened to her after that. She was ill-treated by the Cobra woman, the 3rd wife of the old Arab man who brought her with her mother from India to his country. She was by then just a female child of 7-year-old. She has never seen her mother again except today. Many sad things happened to the daughter after she lost the protection of her mother. She got kidnapped, raped, and imprisoned for 10 years by the evil old Saudi man, Sheikh Satan Ahmed. She also got abducted, abused, and tortured for over a year by the despicable sadist man, the late film director, the devil incarnate Mahmood Khan. She got jailed in the Mumbai and Pune women's prisons and raped by many evil top police officers and government senior officials. She was converted against her will to Hinduism by her dominating Hindu mother Rani Krishna, and forcefully got married to the selfish Hindu boy Rahul Patel. While she was in America, some Somali Muslim terrorists had brutally blown in smithereens her loving husband Uncle Jimmy, and in bits and pieces her beloved daughter Rehana. Recently, she got brainwashed through false prophecies and deceived into marrying her current selfish Christian husband Bruno Fernandez, who, and his parents, and his two bad sisters turned her life into a living hell. The only few good things that happened in her miserable life: she got adopted by a Hindu mother, inherited millions of dollars from her late Saudi husband, played a role as a heroine in a film in Bollywood, was crowned Miss India and Miss World, met her Uncle Jimmy, and spent a brief happy time with him and her beloved daughter, and finally went to the Jewish house and fell in love with her American lover, the complete Jew, Michael Lewinsky, who is presently sitting by her side in the courtroom. Despite her dark and sad past life, the American wife has tried hard to block those numerous and uncountable number of the ugly and a few good memories from erupting inside her troubled mind. She does not want to remember anything at that moment except the love of her Muslim mother. She just wants her mother to recognize her, embrace her, and give her a kiss. At that moment, she is longing for the love and hug of her mother and nothing else. For that, she came all the way from America to India. For over a year she searched in every nook and corner of the hundreds of slums and thousands of huts in Mumbai for her biological mother until finally, she found her in a remote Muslim town. She has understood the time of reaping the fruits of her efforts has come at last. Therefore, she is waiting eagerly, with a heart full of lofty expectations. After taking the oath, her mother stood in the witnessing box. She has her eyes facing the floor. It seemed like her mother does not want to look at anyone. Once again, the judge asked her to lift her gaze and look at the girl who has claimed to be her biological daughter and answer the questions of the court. Begum Rehana Sheikh Uldeen Khan forced her eyes and looked at her daughter. She looks incredibly sad and frightened. The judge asked her in a loud voice whether she recognizes the girl who is sitting in front of her as her daughter. She answered in a soft voice, no. Then the judge changed his question and asked her whether she has a daughter by the name of Ifat Khan. Rehana looked at her daughter for a while and said again, not at all. If someone has taken a sharp dagger and stabbed her with it in her heart, Christina might not have felt so much pain than when she heard her own mother has openly denied that she has a daughter by the name of Ifat Khan. When she heard the second answer of her mother, the daughter felt as if someone has suddenly switched off all the lights in the courtroom and closed all its windows and doors. She can see nothing in front of her, as if she is struck with blindness and paralysis. Her mind has become blank, and her lifeless body has suddenly fallen flat on the floor like a girl who got shot by a gun in her head from a point-blank range. When Christina opened her eyes again, at first, she failed to know where she has been cast. She can see the people around her through a blurred vision. They have appeared to her as if they are scary ghosts. She thought that she died and descended into hell, where infidel human beings have been turned into demons and monsters due to their evil deeds. She began to panic and sweat terribly. When she tried to cry for help, her voice failed her. She has become afraid and thought those scary black creatures may attack and turn her into a ghost just like them. She closed her eyes and opened them many times, and every time, she saw those scary creatures surrounding her. When they began to speak to her, she heard them speaking in a gibberish just like zombies. She cannot understand a word from what they are saying to her. After much struggling, she managed to open her mouth and shout. She started to shout and call for help. She tried to get up and run for her life. But she cannot be able to move a hand or a leg. She felt those scary creatures are restraining her. She strove to free her legs, jump off the bed, and run away from them. She discovered that those scary creatures have fastened her hands and legs with strong and long chains. As a matter of fact, the slum girl Ifat Khan, who is now known as Christina Fernandez, does not know that she has lost her mind and gone temporarily insane. After she got vehemently denied, rejected, and betrayed by her own Muslim mother, she could not stand the shock, lost her consciousness, and fell inside the courtroom. Her American boyfriend Michael and a couple of police constables had carried her lifeless body out of the courtroom and rushed her in an ambulance to the nearest hospital. Although she had been revived in the hospital, still the doctor and nurses discovered she lost her mind and became a madwoman. She has been transferred to a mental asylum. She is now restrained in her bed at the mental hospital because she has become extremely violent and a danger to herself and others. Chapter 25. The Third Married Life of Mrs. Begum Rehanaji. To know why the biological mother Rehana Khan had denied in court and under oath that she ever had a daughter by the name of Ifat Khan, and totally disowned and betrayed her only female child, we need to state briefly what had happened to her after she returned from America, and then she settled with her 3 sons into India. When Rehana came to know through Rani Krishna that her husband Jamal Khan had fallen in love with her lost and found daughter Ifat Khan, she decided to sacrifice the love of her life for the sake of her beloved daughter. She knew that her daughter had suffered so much under the abuse and captivity of the evil old Saudi man Sheikh Ahmed. Therefore, she refused to listen to Rani Krishna's advice of not divorcing her husband. She even rejected her huge financial bribe, and did not scare of her threat of taking her cheating husband and daughter to court, and accusing them of practicing incest in America. At that time, Rehana wanted her daughter to enjoy her lover Uncle Jimmy, and live happily with him and their daughter. Accordingly, she divorced her husband Jamal, sold her house in America, and decided to go back to her motherland. After leaving the States, Rehana Khan returned to Mumbai with her 3 sons. She lived for some time in a rented apartment with her sons in the Baikala neighborhood. She had a fair amount of savings plus the money she received after selling her house in America. She decided to settle down permanently in her homeland and bring up her 3 sons. After her husband cheated on her, she lost trust and interest in men. Notwithstanding, shortly after she settled in Mumbai, Rehana, through her Muslim neighbors, one day was invited to attend some religious festival at Mumbai town. While she was attending that Islamic festival, she was spotted by a big mullah, who is the imam of the largest and most prestigious mosque in that Muslim town. Although he was already having 2 wives, the lustful mullah was struck by the beauty of the woman, and somehow came to know where she was staying, and sent some of his female relatives to propose her in an Islamic halal marriage for him. Although at that time Rehana was not particularly religious, she was tempted by the exalted position held by the mullah in Mumbai town. Besides, she learned that the mullah has the Mughal royal blood running in his veins, and he is from the Ashraf caste, or the Muslim nobles, while Rehana is from the Arzal caste, the Muslim untouchables. Accordingly, the temptation was beyond her ability to resist it. In addition, at that time, the divorced Muslim woman, Rehana Khan, needed a man to protect her and satisfy her sexual needs. Therefore, she accepted the marriage proposal, and shortly afterward, the fiancé and his fiancée were married through a big wedding celebration. The imam of the mosque is quite wealthy and spent generously on his American Muslim wife. After her return from the Promised Land, Rehana became known among her Muslim circles as the American Muslim. After staying with her 3rd husband for 1 year, Rehana was completely changed and became a deeply religious woman. She regularly prays 5 times every day, fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, and attending mosque with other women. She was treated by her neighbors as a royal woman, and mixed only with noble Muslim women. Her name was changed from Rayhana to Rayhanji, which means Rayhana the Great. No one is allowed to call her name without adding the royal title of Begum. Traditionally it was conferred upon Muslim women of royal or aristocratic rank, and was often used in the same ways as the title, Queen, or Maharani. In the meantime, the royal wife Begum Rayhanji Sheikh Uddin Khan was taught to recite the Holy Quran by heart. Her 3 sons likewise were turned into deeply religious and pious boys. Begum Rayhanji never told her 3rd husband that she had a daughter from her first Muslim husband. She did not even mention to him that she had married 2 men before she met him. She confessed that she married a Muslim man called Jamal Khan when she was in Mumbai and emigrated to America with him. They had 1 son when they were in India, and 2 sons were born to them in the States. Also, she told him that her husband cheated on her and fell in love with a young Hindu girl called Pooja Patel who was as old as his daughter. He even fathered a female child with his Hindu girlfriend without the marriage bond. Such scandalous relation is lawful in America but illegal in India. Due to his shameful deeds, she left him because he totally forsook her and began to live with his young Hindu mistress. Because of his scandalous relationship, she divorced him, took his 3 sons, and brought them with her to her motherland. That day, when her 3rd husband, the dangerous Mullah Sheikh Uddin Khan came, and told her about the shamefully dressed-up girl, who claimed to be her daughter, Begum Rayhanji found herself being confronted with a fundamental problem. Her husband told her also the girl said her name is Christina Fernandez, and she was born as a Muslim but converted to Christianity. Begum Rayhanji became extremely mad when she learned that her Muslim daughter, Ifat Khan, had left Islam and discarded her Muslim name, and took the name of an infidel girl. When she heard in the States from Rani Krishna and Rahul Patel that her Muslim daughter became a Hindu girl, she did not believe it. But when her husband informed her about her apostasy from Islam and conversion to Christianity, she could not deny it. She knows that her religious commitment and sentiments could tolerate anything her daughter might have done except forsaking Islam and converting to Christianity. She also expected that she might be divorced by her husband and her Muslim children might be taken from her, and she then gets kicked out of the Muslim community and town empty-handed. Moreover, she understood that she would seriously damage the reputation of her 3rd husband, the imam of the biggest mosque among his Muslim adherents, if she openly admitted to having an apostate girl as a daughter. Above all, she was worried that her daughter might expose her hidden secret concerning her husband, Jamal Khan, who had left her and fell in love with her own daughter Ifat Khan, and he also fathered a baby girl with her through incest. Rayhana has no knowledge that her former husband Jamal Khan was brutally killed by the Somali terrorists in the States along with his baby daughter. She thought that her daughter is still living with Jamal Khan. After weighing all the pros and cons, Begum Rayhanji decided to cut all ties with her apostate daughter. She considered her to be dead in her eyes and gone out of her life forever. She believes that by forsaking Islam and embracing the false religion of the infidels, Ifat lost her legitimate and moral right to be called her daughter. After the Mullah Sheikh Uddin Khan later informed his wife that he received a letter from the Mumbai court, and that the law required her to stand in court in front of a judge and testify under oath that she has a daughter by the name of Ifat Khan or not, Rayhana's motherly bowels have been revived. She thought she could cut ties with her daughter without meeting her face to face. However, as a mother she understood that she cannot deny and reject her daughter in front of her, and before everybody. Furthermore, as a Muslim woman, how can she place her right hand on her holy Quran and tell such an unpardonable lie? Begum Rayhanji decided to face the wrath of her 3rd husband and Muslim community, and bear all the shames, and confess in court her relationship with her only daughter, Ifat Khan, with the hope to get reconciled and reunited with her missing firstborn daughter. Before we mention what happened next, we must explain some important social phenomena in India. Every religious leader in India is also a politician as well as a ganda or gangster. Those three social positions come as one package in Indian society. You cannot choose one of the three social positions and reject the other two. If you are not a religious person, or even if you do not believe in God and you decided to go into politics, you need to pretend to be a pious and religious person. Bal Thackeray, the founder of the Hindu political party of Shiv Sena, which means the army of the Hindu god Shiva, who is the god of death, was a very committed religious man, renowned politician, and notorious Ganda, and among Muslims, his equal is the dreadful terrorist Dawood Ibrahim, India's enemy number one, and among Indian Christians, his equal is Antony Kalia. Kali is the goddess of evil. Perhaps the only Indian politician who managed to avoid being a terrorist and gangster was the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji was a great Indian politician, and through his religious theory of ahimsa, non-violence, he compelled the British Empire to grant independence to India without shedding one drop of blood. Mahatma Gandhi, the great soul, paid dearly for granting a separate country to the Muslims of the Pakistan state. For that great mistake, Gandhiji was shot dead by a fanatic Hindu man. Like all Indian religious men, the Mullah Sheikh Uddin Khan is three in one. He is more than a mullah, he is an imam of a mosque, a politician, a terrorist, and a gangster. He is like the evil trinity mentioned in the Holy Bible in the Book of Revelation, a false prophet, a devil incarnates, and of course the Antichrist. He hates with passion Indian Christians, and abhors with bitterness the Hindus of Hindustan. If he could, he would have killed all Christians of the world with his own hands. He also hates other Indians such as Sikhs, Jains, and Buddhists. He is behind many of the bomb blasts that claimed the lives of many innocent people in Mumbai and other parts of India. Therefore, when the feet of the so-called filthy infidel Christian whore came to the threshold of his holy abode, his heart was boiled with great holy wrath. The mullah could not believe his eyes when he saw a practically half-naked young woman standing in front of his door. He also could not believe his ears when he heard a Christian girl claim to be the daughter of his righteous third wife, Begum Rehanji. Worse than all, that little female slut shamefully boasted of being born as a Muslim and converted to the false religion of the infidels. If it were not for the Muslim crowd that gathered around her, and his reputation among his Muslim community, he would have strangled her to death, pour kerosene on her defiled dead body, set it ablaze, and burn it to ashes. The Mullah Sheikh Uddin Khan, like a police dog, can sniff a lie when he hears it. Accordingly, when he informed his third wife about the decision of the court, he read the truth through her reaction. Her reaction showed him that somehow there is a connection between his third wife and the Christian slut who claimed to be her daughter. Even so, before he would force his wife to reveal the truth, he decided to find out by himself. Being a three in an evil trinity, he knew that would not be a challenging task to perform in a few days. He sent three of his religious terrorists to some of his top police friends, who are also Muslim terrorists like him, and working in the criminal investigation department, and demanded a full report on the life of his third wife, Begum Rehanji. After a few days, he received in his hands a 100-page report on the life of the former female dweller of the Dharavi slum, Rehana Khan. The report detailed her life story from the day she was born in a small village near the suburbs of the city of Aurangabad to the day she was married to His Excellency. Many minute details in her life are mentioned in that report. Even Rehana herself will not be aware of them. With that huge dossier in hand, one night the mullah woke up his third wife from her sleep and confronted her with her lies. He sat in front of her as the devil incarnate, holding one long whip in his right hand and the police report in his left hand. A sharp double-edged sword and a Kalashnikov had been placed on a big table within his hand reach. The dangerous mullah is not only terrorizing outsiders, but he is ruling with an iron fist all members of his three households. He told his third wife that he has not only come to know that she was married to a first husband and gave birth to 5 sons with him, but also, he fathered her only daughter, Ifat Khan. Furthermore, he told her Jamal Khan was her Muslim husband number 2, and he is her husband number 3. Rehana responded with tears and pleaded for mercy and forgiveness. She knew and understood that if she denied his findings, he will behead her and bury her body inside her house. Then he can fake her funeral, and instead of her beheaded body, he will bury a few pillows in the Mumbar Kabaristan, or the Islamic graveyards. He can tell his other 2 wives and children that he has slain his 3rd wife on an honor killing, or simply she committed suicide because he caught her in bed with another Muslim man. Accordingly, to avoid such a painful death, Rehana Khan began to cry, and went on her knees, and kissed the feet of her terrifying husband and begged him to grant her his grace and clemency. The vengeful Imam agreed to compromise in his decision, if his 3rd wife agrees to follow his dictation at the Mumbai courtroom. If she refuses to carry out his orders, she is not only going to endanger her life but the life of her daughter Ifat Khan as well. Moreover, she will lose her 3 sons too. Accordingly, that day, Begum Rehanji and her 3rd husband were escorted to the Mumbai court by 3 Muslim terrorists. When she entered the witness box, those 3 terrorists were sitting among the audience and staring at her. They were fully armed and had been given orders by their Lucifer to shoot and kill mother and daughter inside the courtroom, which is not a rare occurrence in an Indian courtroom. Such double assassination must take place in broad daylight if Begum Rehanji alters the words that their master, the mullah, Satan Islam Khan, had ordered her in front of them to say in court. That day, there happened to be 3 police officers guarding the door of the small courtroom. One was a Hindu police officer, and the other 2 police officers were Muslims. By frightening the Hindu guard of killing him, slaughtering his wife, and slaying his children, and through bribing the 2 Muslim police officers, they managed to smuggle their weapons inside the small courtroom.